Oh, we are back. We are back. Lovely Sunday. Everybody's together here. Me and Jerry just living the best day of our life yesterday. The first half was terrible. The last 30 minutes was the greatest I've ever seen play football. Um, that's the NFL playoffs. That's the NFL playoffs. That's a rivalry in the NFL playoffs. I thought I was like, okay, if this was anybody else, it'd be like, okay, like whatever. It's the Packers, so we cannot lose to the Packers in the playoffs. Can't get blown out. Uh, 21-3, and then we end up coming back. Matt LaFleur was also with the Falcons when they lost 28-3 in the Super Bowl, and supposedly Ben Johnson showed that game to the team in the offseason during mini camp because Joe Tooney was on the Patriots side and Grady Jarrett was on the Falcons side, and he wanted to get both views from both different sides of like how to handle it when you're down, how to handle it when you're up, like what to do, that type of thing. And that's just, I think he foreshadowed the Bears season pretty much.
I think that's quality journalism by Ben Johnson to get both sides of the story there. To get one in the winning team, obviously losing team, both sides of that comeback. No, that's quality journalism from Ben Johnson. But that was the Bears season really in a nutshell so far. And I was texting folks. I'll be the first to admit, hope was low at the end of
Oh,
that
I
first
said it
half.
was over. I texted somebody, said it's over. They called me a
It,
terrible fan, but I
it
was like,
felt it felt like the same old Bears had peaked in the most Bearsian moment, which is you have all this hype around you. Soldier Field's packed. It looks great there. You had the pregame snow and all this stuff. And it's like, oh, this is the game, right? This is everything it's supposed to be. It's playing up to it. And the Bears are just getting there. You know what's look. The defense looks the way I think I described it was the yards the Packers were getting looked very easy in the
yeah,
first half. Every yard the Bears were trying to get looked very hard to get. And then somehow, some way, by the grace of God, maybe it is the Pope at this point. You know what? So I'm really, if that's the case, White Sox season, buy stock now.
amen.
But this was cathartic. This does feel like a proverbial monkey off the back because not just was it winning that playoff game, it's winning against the Packers, which again, historic rivalry. It finally feels like that same sense of urgency in that rivalry is back too, right? Like that first game you went to, Caleb, at
Yep.
Lambeau, that was a good football game. It was back and forth. It felt like two teams that not just didn't like each other, but were on a level playing field. Like it didn't feel like the Packers are that much better. And the second game, with the Bears coming back, same idea. And then you meet in the third time. There was a lot of what talking up north, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, we want the Bears." Perfect. This is what makes this fun. And it's been a really good encapsulation of this first weekend of NFL playoffs in total because all these games, including the one that's on right now, we might not get a lot of Trevor until we talk about this game.
Oh yeah.
And that's part of like we haven't had that game just yet in the wild card playoffs where it's like, oh yeah, this team's just that much better, and that's made that more fun.
No, it's
Every
been close
team
games.
feels like they have a chance, and that's when you have a good playoff. It's when every team that steps in feels like they can win the whole thing. Am I saying I think the Bears are going to San Francisco right now? No, I'll never say it until we're there, right? Like this is hard to believe in, but I mean, we just beat the team that feels like the team we can never really get the hump over. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And we still have a lot of good games to talk about.
Well, it also shows just how wide open it is, when you look at it. So we'll get into more of the NFL and the Bears shredding the Packers. Creepy Photo says, gentlemen, welcome back. Hope you had a blessed week. He goes, Trevor, you should be getting paid double time to be streaming while your team is in the playoffs. You're a legend. Of course, Trevor's watching the Eagles 49ers, as we all are. Is it 16-10 right now, Eagles, with a minute left in the third. The Eagles, I will say, in spots, they look like the Eagles that we know, but they just haven't fully been able to put it together. Defense is playing phenomenal as always, no shock there, but offense is slowly figuring out. First, though, we'll go to the college football playoffs. This is what the bracket looks like right now. It's crazy to think that we're here to the final four, the final two teams. After we had a great Fiesta Bowl, and then we had there's murders in Atlanta all the time. It felt like another one was added on. That's just how it was. And now these two teams will meet in Miami, which is crazy. January 19th, Monday, January 19th. I don't know how it's going to work. Miami's the away team, but I don't think they're going to get the away locker room, as they shouldn't. They also get a $3 million travel fee or bonus, and they're just pocketing $3 million basically.
That's awesome.
Um, So, they're playing at home, which will be interesting. But let's talk about how we got here to that moment. Yeah, so I mean, Thursday night, this game was one of those
Rebels couldn't evacuate hurricanes. Jesus, Caleb.
pretty creative, right? Yeah, there you go. I got pretty creative today, I will say.
It's very old timey newspaper
I
headline
went
writing.
back
Like,
to the
the
old
rebels
days.
couldn't evacuate hurricanes.
That was amazing.
37-31.
I tried
Like,
figuring out how to
whatever it
do it. I even like extended the graphics so I could even fit it all in there fully. Um, it was look, this was a great game, I will say.
It
Um,
was.
Miami 31, Old Miss 27. I will say it again. Trinidad Chambliss, the fact that he was playing D2 football and then was the starting quarterback for one of the final four teams in the highest level of college football is crazy. I don't know fully what his future is going to look like. He was denied the 6 year or whatever, but like it was just wild to me. And this whole Old Miss team has been on this like combined hate Lane Kiffin thing of like, all right, it's not him, it's us. They take that, and then they go up against a guy who I think has more rage built up in him than in Mario Cristobal, and he's like, look, we're gonna shove it down your throat, and we're gonna do what we can do. Carson Beck scored the late touchdown to pull him ahead. Uh, Old Miss got down the field there. I don't even know how in the hell they got down the field to force a somewhat Hail Mary. I don't think it was pass interference. What did you guys think about that play?
and they don't call pass interference if like ever on a Hail Mary, so it's hard to make it this the time. But man, we got close to me being okay with breaking precedent because there was a lot of grabs and stuff like that that were really obvious, and it wasn't even like everyone's standing still and we're just jumping on each other. And mind you, the ball thrown by Trinidad Chambliss, even in that situation, is
Perfect.
insane because if there isn't that level of contact, that is a really catchable ball. Like it's not like it wasn't like what we saw yesterday with like Jordan Love's throw, not to preemptively make fun of the Packers, but like it wasn't that type of thing where it's like, I don't know, but like that was a beautiful pass too, which makes it that much harder. But do you really want to set the precedent on a Hail Mary in that moment? No, but we got pretty close. We got pretty close.
Yeah, I was like kind of fine with the no call, but if there was a call, I wouldn't have been upset either. Um, and you can look at every single play, NFL and college, and find something. Obviously, that just happened to be where the throw was going to. So yeah, like I said, if they would have called pass interference, I would have been like, yeah. But the fact that they didn't, I'm not like, oh my god, either
Yeah.
about it. So it doesn't remind me of what was it, Saints Rams, when
Yeah.
that dude
Yeah.
just like full on tackled him.
Well, if they would have called pass interference, it would have been the second time on Miami in a Fiesta Bowl. If they would have called pass interference, and that would have been crazy. Bill Lamagna in the booth for ESPN said it was mutual combat. Is probably the way that the officials looked at it. So that's probably why they didn't call it. John says good, no call. Yeah, like I said, I don't think it was. I don't think it was pass interference. But it was just crazy how they got down the field. And to Jerry's point, that throw was perfect. I mean, you
Beautiful
couldn't have
throw,
got a
yeah.
better throw. But Carson Beck, I mean, look, when he doesn't make mistakes, this is as far as Miami can go. He did have the one pick, but when he plays consistent and he plays good, it's as far as his team will go. They also ran for 191 yards. That's exactly what they want to do. Yet again, they tired down Old Miss's defensive line and were able to, go down the field and score in that last drive. So I don't know. It's just one of those things. Miami is one of those teams where they're very sneaky, but we saw in that game for them some injuries maybe piling up, defensive linemen interiorly, and then the other edge rushers. So this is the point of the season you get to where it's like injuries start to pile up. But look, they did what they want to do. They played their game plan, and Old Miss's magic runs out.
Like what's tough is that this was a really fun and back and forth game. And you kind of wish this game was second. You wish this was the Friday game because of what happened with Oregon and Indiana. Not to overly go in there, but like this was a fun back and forth. And coming out of it, I'm like, man, yeah, really, any team here at this point could win this thing. This feels very even. And that was before we watched what happened here. But it doesn't take the shine away. This is a Miami team that I think as one of us set up the top, like in the playoffs, even though we weren't high on them. It's like they have the pieces to do the thing, but it was limiting those mistakes, like you said, Caleb, with Carson Beck and stuff like that. I'm very curious what the future of Ole Miss looks like because this kind of like weird in between of having a historic run, having your best team ever, watching the coach that got you there leave, and then continue to win without him. Now everything kind of comes back to earth. Now you got to get back to recruiting. Now you got to get back to talent evaluation. All those things, which they were still doing. I don't want to act like Pete Golding and the staff's just like, oh, whatever, just playing football. Like, they're literally today, they just got Deuce Knight, which is from Auburn, the quarterback. Like, they're getting people. This is not a complete out and about. It's tough, especially Trinidad Chambliss not getting that waiver. So it was a fun run. It's tough for me, though, because this was a Rebels team that we had a lot of questions about, even with how well they were playing, where they're about to walk into feels very buzzsawy. So it's like you enjoy this one. Mario Cristobal's a terrible on-camera interview. That's cool. But, man, it feels real dangerous real quick.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the way Indiana's played. Johnson says tie game, Trev's going to lose it, and I'm here for it. Wow, it's crazy. And then he asked if you were praying with your head down there. So, yeah, so the 49ers just took the lead. What'd they do? A little double pass? Juwan Jennings?
Yeah, Juwan Jennings threw it to Christian McCaffrey.
So they now lead 17-16. There's still 15 minutes left.
Yeah, we got a lot of game left.
Look, the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, ice in his veins normally, so we'll see how it goes. All right, now we'll move on to Indiana. Look, this was from the opening play. We had a pick six to start the day. Pons for Indiana. Dante Moore, that really set the tone. I mean, I kind of thought, I was like, okay, my gut, I said it on Wednesday, I was like, my gut kind of feels Oregon, but my brain's telling me Indiana. I rode with my brain, of course. I thought Oregon would put up a fight maybe a little bit, but look, they weren't able to run the ball effectively. And Indiana, they're perfect. Like everything goes their way. Fernando Mendoza fumbles it, and Pat Coogan jumps on it. It's just everything they do is perfect. They are smooth, and it is like watching a well-oiled machine. And I know they're college, and I know they have a lot of older guys on their team, but like Curt Cignetti is, I'm telling you right now, if he wins a national title, I may call him the greatest football coach of all time. I get it's NIL, and like it's a little different, but the fact that he's taken Indiana just this far, and not only this far, but they've dominated in their 2 playoff games, and based off of all the other 7 teams in the playoff history, I get it's just 2 years that lose with the bye. They have dominated after the bye in the Rose Bowl, and then they dominated this game as well. An opponent that they've already played, and it was a close game. They've got even better since then. And now they're 7.5-point favorite against Miami in Miami for the national title game. I'm telling you, I know Curt Cignetti was assistant under Nick Saban, but he may have more magic than old Nick Saban.
I don't know if it's like greatest of all time or not. This is the greatest turnaround I think this sport has ever seen and probably will ever see. And that is, I think part of it, yes, obviously is the current condition and the state of this game, right, where the transfer portal exists, where the secret sauce is not just that these guys are older, it's that these guys developed under Curt Cignetti and James Madison, right? Not all of them. Fernando Mendoza, notably, not a James Madison guy, but guys like Surratt and folks like that are key pieces. Pons, another example, where key pieces of the James Madison teams are very good that he brought over and continue to get better. This is the way I look at this team is almost like that Cincinnati team in the 14 playoff years ago, but just that much better. Yeah. Like if you would have taken that Cincinnati team and then given them the Big Ten budget, right, to kind of fill in the final pieces, right, instead of having Desmond Ridder, who was a good college quarterback, I don't want to act like he was nothing, right, but instead you can upgrade there or upgrade here. But it's that type of level of team where like that Cincinnati team when they made the 14 was one of the best teams in the country, but now you can get your best players and you can fit the pieces you need. Another thing, staff continuity, huge here. Both their defensive and offensive coordinators, some of the best paid in the country. They've rode with Cignetti here and there. And I'm not saying this is all like trying to take anything away from Curt himself. The talent evaluation of Indiana is impressive. But when you have that continuity and a lot of those pieces together, you could do things that this sport has not been able to do anymore, which is truly develop and get guys into the system. We're losing that in this sport. Indiana is now the exception, and it's almost like, wow, if you stick around with the guy for a little while, maybe you don't run away to get immediate game time or to chase a quick dollar here and there, you can make a really good program. And I think that's kind of some of the secret sauce. I don't know all of it, right? But it came together here in this moment, and it kind of proved here because it's hard to beat a team twice. I get it. They did it in Autzen. That's hard as hell to do as well. But not just to beat a team a second time, but to double up the score on them and make it look like it's not even the same team. That was a 1-5 matchup.
Oh yeah.
It looked like the G5 team. James Madison put up more points in their game against Oregon, right? Like it's so mind-boggling in that sense. But Indiana's complete. They're the most complete team, they're the most well-gelled team, and it's a hard team to bet against or look against because at every moment in situation, Fernando Mendoza threw 5 touchdowns. He didn't throw for 200 yards. Think about that. Think about what you have to do schematically and how much you have to dominate to give your team that great a field position. You can run the ball that well, and when you actually are throwing the ball, it's so complete and simple. This feels like the best team in college football, and we've been saying that for a while. This was just another example of that.
Yeah, I'm pretty interested too. Like, obviously, we still have another game, but kind of what they look like moving forward because not only have they been able to keep a lot of the same players, but they're also doing pretty well in the transfer portal right now too. So I'm interested to see like the best of both worlds, how that impacts Indiana with like getting the TCU quarterback and stuff. So I'm interested to see how that looks. And obviously, like we said, Mendoza's from Cal, right? So they are familiar with some of that, coming in to help the team out. I'm interested. I think Indiana is definitely the best team in the country. And I agree with you, Caleb, that this is probably the best 2 seasons that a college football coach has ever had. From what he got to what he has turned it into, to basically being by far the favorite in college football to win the national championship and winning these games against quality opponents so decisively. Like it's not even close. Like Indiana just show that they are that much better than Oregon and that much better than Alabama, and it's insane to watch, dude.
Well, someone brought up there like I wonder how good Texas Tech was after how they played against Oregon and how Oregon played. But no, I mean, look, it's a program that not a lot of people wanted to take a chance on to coach at. He came in and he said, "Look," he goes, "I win. Google me," and he set the baseline. He said, "This is exactly what we're going to be. This is how we're going to do it." And yeah, I mean, Mendoza was 17 for 20, so he had more touchdowns than he had incompletions, which is ridiculous. He is now going back to his hometown of Miami. He grew up, I think, less than a mile away from the University of Miami's campus. I think his dad and Mario Cristobal played football together somewhere or did something together somewhere. I think his mom went to Miami, so it's a homecoming for him. His interviews. It's like the funniest thing. Jerry brought up Mario Cristobal's interviews. His interviews, it feels like he's screaming all the time. I don't know if that's just because how he's so excited, but he's just like he was like, "This is great for the city of Miami. Everybody's so excited. Like it's gonna be awesome." It's just crazy. I mean, this guy from Cal goes to Indiana, Cal to Indiana, wins the Heisman Trophy, and has a chance to win the national title.
The Disney film about the Indiana Hoosiers. You thought it was about basketball. Surprise. Guess what? Hoosiers 2 is going to do numbers, and it's just going to be based off this true story. Whoever gets to play Curt Cignetti is going to be my funniest thing. The thing about who we're casting for these characters. Timothy Chalamet and Fernando Mendoza.
It's perfect, Jerry. Look at you.
Well, and too, I think it's really interesting. When he won the Heisman, there was a lot of people kind of like hating on this is the worst Heisman winner of all time. And ever since the Heisman, he's done nothing but absolutely ball out. So it's like every week he's like proving everyone who had that opinion absolutely wrong. Because right now he is the best player in college football. Though I mean, now his receivers, dude, are phenomenal. That tight end, dude, if you just throw it up around him, he's gonna come down and catch it. And Surratt too is unbelievable. But like what I kind of talked about, I don't know if it was last week, but maybe a couple weeks ago, where it's just like he's like a calculated gunslinger.
Yeah.
Like not every single play is pushing the ball down the field, but he is gonna wait for that opportunity to make a big play, and he's gonna go for it. And usually it works out more than it doesn't. So I really, like I said, it takes me back to that first down against Ohio State. Takes me down, that big to go up against Alabama. Like he's just awesome. I love Fernando. Too bad he's got to go play for the Raiders, but
it feels like. Well, the thing is, to credit the whole team here too is like Mendoza can take these coordinated shots, right?
Yeah.
Because his offensive line gives him all the time in the world.
Yeah.
And that's a great offensive line. This is where they're just so complete, is that every piece of this team, they have solid receivers. Becker is that tight end you're talking about. You could throw it anywhere. It feels like watching Coastal Loveland with the Bears right now, in that sense of like, you kind of get it roughly near Coastal Loveland. If it's in his hands, he's most likely catching the ball.
Yeah.
Becker feels the same way. Surratt's a guy that if you just get it within the near vicinity, and Surratt's been hurt, mind you. He's been like, ever since that Oregon game. The Oregon game was like his best game in the regular season. And then he was kind of just out and about. Didn't matter. It beat teams by like 50 plus. But it's just the completeness of this team is the fact that, I think there's an interception. Speaking of incomplete, that's more of a pick itself. So that's a big play.
Quinion, go all the way to the end zone. Just go.
And there is a flag on that play too. So there's a lot going on here. We'll keep you updated on the Eagles game. As Trevor might cry.
I'm not even positive he caught it. And
no, he caught that. I just saw the other angle. He caught it.
So that's a big deal as well. But like, you know what Indiana doesn't do? They don't get in situations like the Eagles or the 49ers right now, where it's a close game. You're having to question anything. They beat the hell out of teams. And it's because they're just so complete. So it's hard for me to see them not being up on Miami. The only way that I think there's a realm here is if Miami's defensive front, which is very, very good, can get the required pressure. The only thing Fernando Mendoza is not good at is kind of scrambling out and making throws or catching his blind side, stuff like that. But it's been a non-weakness because he's been blocked and he has great offensive blocking 9 times out of 10. So a dominant run by the Hoosiers. We are one game away from having some insane conversations about this sport. Not in a good or bad way. I'm not saying that in a negative, but it's going to – a lot of people are going to have a lot of questions to answer at a lot of different programs in this country if the Indiana Hoosiers finish the job. And right now, they look like they're bound to do it.
Well, yeah, so this is the first third straight year SEC, Jerry's beloved conference, is not in the national championship. So the Big Ten has a chance to go 3 in a row here. The ACC has a chance to, of course, win one here. We won't make our picks until next Sunday, with the game being on Monday, next Monday. So we won't make our picks for the game Sunday. But I will ask, is there any concern with how Miami's played close games so far in this playoff and Indiana has not played in close games? Is that a concern for you guys?
I would say that Indiana right now feels like they're unbeatable, but if we just go back to that Penn State game, there were scenarios that were created that allowed Penn State to stay in that game, and I would say Miami is tenfold better than Penn State. So there are, and like you said, Miami's used to being in close games. Indiana, that's kind of the problem, is when you're kind of just blowing everyone out, you're not really battle tested for that, last second, whatever. But I mean, if Miami would have to cause absolute havoc on defense, because on the defensive side, because on offense I just don't see it. I don't see them being able to just absolutely destroy Indiana offensively. I think Indiana's defense is just too good. I think it would have to be I don't remember the edge rusher from Miami's name, but those guys, yes, him. Those guys being so disruptive and maybe completely shutting the run down. Because we kind of saw Hemby didn't have a great rushing outing, but Caton Black or whatever, he has a super, that should be a WWE name. Caton Black. But he was able to get going a little bit, and that kind of was just kind of who they fed most of the game, which kind of sucked because I had money on Hemby, but he got it, so it's okay. If they're able to shut the run down, maybe get to Mendoza, make him have a few mistakes, passing. We saw that he fumbled, try to do a little spin move. So those things have to go Miami's way. So I'm interested to see that. There is a world where that's possible. Is it super duper likely? I would say probably not. But there is a world. And if Penn State can give Indiana fits, I think Miami can give them fits.
And I look to those, both that Penn State and the Ohio State game, as reasons I'm not as worried if this is a one-score game going into the final drive, or if it's a tie game later there, because they've handled those situations. This is, not to play into it, never daunted and all that. I get it's a catchphrase, but they have shown in moments where when it is closer for comfort, that this is a team that can still go back and forth. But it just, in a weird way, it's like if they were blowing out teams that didn't matter, like if it was only the Marylands of the world right now, which, when they're in conference play and doing that, I'm like, okay, maybe. When you do it to a team that everyone thought had had at least a shot, right, and had seen you before and all these things, and you make them look like mincemeat, it's hard for me to even worry about you getting into a close game because all the same principles apply, being a well-oiled machine and all this stuff like this. So when it comes to a close game, I'm not as concerned. What I'm fascinated by is I know it's a home game for Miami, this and that. Will it really feel like a home game?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a great time to remind people that Indiana has the biggest alumni base in the country, and they have traveled well because
80-20 in the Peach Bowl.
Yeah, and this is a game where, yes, Miami is literally on home soil. The Hoosiers have not been afraid to travel because this is still a fever dream. Like as much as we're talking about Indiana, like we were talking about like prime Alabama or Georgia or Ohio State, right? They're in the same class right now, which Jesus Christ, right? In its own way. But for their fans, this is still an insane moment. It's because it's not been continued success. So people will go out for this game. There are going to be people that will travel for it. And so I'm very curious if the Hoosiers can make this game somewhat of a home game or even a 50-50 in a game that is literally a home game for Miami. So very curious how that will look. But if we're talking about crowd size instead of the ball game, that should tell you a lot about how good this Indiana team is.
Well, I think Dante Moore said, I thought those were just red shirts. I didn't know they were Indiana fans or something like that after the game. I think I saw that, which is so funny to me. No, I agree with both you guys on the close games. I just brought it up because as of right now, it kind of feels like that's the only thing that kind of Miami could have going for them as of right now, which is crazy to think. But no, I agree. They've played in close games. They're battle tested. It's helped a lot. Jonathan says refs giving the game to the Eagles. Oh no, Saquon's hurt.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh no, Saquon's hurt. All right,
Bigsby's a dog.
Saquon, Trevor. Saquon. Sequin's hurt. Saquon Barkley did come out of the game. It looks like he's on the side. He's asking for his helmet back, so he's a tough man. He's got thick thighs. He'll be back. All right, we now have 8 coaches or coach openings or teams without a head coach, however you want to say it. 25% of the NFL is without a head coach. We'll say that. Mike McDaniel is added to that list. He thought he got away. It was one of those. John Harbaugh thought he got away. It's like, nope, we're firing you. And Mike McDaniel the next day, he was like, oh, I'm good. Let's start doing this thing. Let's figure out next year. He's out after 4 seasons. Miami was 35-33, 7-10 this season, but they were terrible and they got some wins, figured it out. He made it to the playoffs the first 2 years. This is pretty much just he got caught up with Tua as his quarterback. He did all he could the first couple of years with Tua at the quarterback. They brought in Tyreek Hill. They had Jalen Waddle. They did all this stuff offensively. It looks new. It looked dynamic. And then Tua turned out to be not what the expectations were in Miami when they drafted him 5th overall and in front of Justin Herbert. I will say that. And so, yeah, he gets moved. He gets canned. They also got a new GM. I think somebody from the Packers organization. So usually it kind of feels like maybe if you get rid of one, you're going to get rid of the other. So Mike McDaniel's out, and now it opens up an interesting job in Miami because Tua's still owed like $50-some million this year.
It's just quickly how this type of job opening reminds you how quickly it could be a mess in Miami. Like this, as much as Mike McDaniel struggled this year, and I understand why they did this, Tua was not that fantastic either, right? I'm not trying to defend Tua and act like he's a super quarterback or
since Dan Marino, Jared. Just since Dan Marino.
Yeah, there's a lot of mess that's just going to rehabilitate in Miami right now, and I don't know if Mike McDaniel's going to be your problem. If anything, what sucks is I feel like if you're going to keep Tua along, or you're either going to have to take that dead money hit, which is terrible, right, for your salary cap, and it's going to impede you from progress immediately, or you're going to ride it out a bit. Whoever you pick to do that job next is already starting on the back foot. So I don't want to say it's surprising because we understand why. You laid it out, Caleb, and it makes total sense why Mike McDaniel's no longer the coach here. But in the same token, it's like, okay, who are you bringing in to the situation that's not necessarily that good when you could have maybe wrote it out for McDaniel for a year or 2 more, get completely clean house. Like even if you get rid of the GM, maybe you go GM, give McDaniel a year more, let him go, get Tua off for cheaper, and you move there. But it's tough when you can't really like clean the house fully. You've cleaned 2 rooms of the house, but you still have a messy third one. It's actually through all your garbage. And that's kind of what it feels like with the Tua contracts. Like you still have this $50 million question that you don't have an answer to. So it's like, great, you don't have other pieces to figure out the answer right now. You're going to try to hire those and hope that they bring the right vacuum or whatever to clean that mess you just left behind. And whatever you do, it's not going to be easy.
No.
Yeah, wasn't there like McDaniels was good, and then he had an interview, and then he was not good anymore?
Well, we thought he'd be fired after like the 8th game of the season, and then he kind of figured it out, went along. So I don't know if they got into discussion with the new GM that they hired, who's now John Eric Sullivan, and he was like in his interview was like, "Hey, I'd like to maybe bring in my own coach or that type of thing," or maybe the exit interview with the owners, Stephen Ross, didn't go well, or maybe John Harbaugh being fired and available may have changed some things. So yeah, I don't know. It was just one of those things where, yeah, I mean, it looked like he was going to be fired during the season, and then it was like he saved his job, just get him a quarterback. And then, yeah, I think he got fired Wednesday. So it was just one of those Wednesday or Thursday. It was just one of those later on where it just happened so much later. So, yeah, I don't know. It was a weird thing. It felt like he saved his job, and then, yeah, he's out. So I honestly feel like the John Harbaugh news maybe made them think, oh,
No, I think they were right on with that, Caleb. Like, if anybody else, and I don't think there will be, but if anybody else is to get canned, it is because John Harbaugh is A, on the market, and B, got fired. This feels a lot like, to go to our parallels, the moment James Franklin got fired this year in the college football world, where like then a lot of different teams felt the justification that if they wanted to pull the trigger, they could. Not that, and mind you, John Harbaugh was fired later in the cycle in comparison to some of the coaches here on our screen, right? Like the Tables, I think Stefanski is before, and other stuff like that. But Harbaugh now opens up a world where other teams can feel empowered to do so. Now, it's not a guarantee that you're going to either A, get John Harbaugh if that's the sweepstakes, which I know it is right now. A lot of teams have talked about it. That's the rumor flying. Whatever team you want wants John Harbaugh, or at least that's what's being said. But you know, it's who's going to take these jobs. It's an NFL job no matter what. Those are always a good thing. Do you pluck from the college ranks, which could start up that carousel again? Are we going offensive coordinators, etc.? That's what I think is so fascinating, because now that Harbaugh's out, you can make the justification for a lot of different people to lose their job. Like jokingly, maybe, and I don't think this is going to happen. If you don't have John Harbaugh on a job, Matt LaFleur now can be on a hot seat.
He only has 1 year left on his contract. So that
do I really think Matt LaFleur deserves to be on the hot seat? Not really. But now you have this, right? Like, if you want to make your case, how about you say, hey, a great NFL coach who was supposedly lost his locker room. I don't know if that's the case or not. I think Rappaport reported that, so I believe it, right? But this guy who's been so good in the NFL for almost 2 decades is now out of a job. We don't feel happy in our situation. Let's move on. Maybe we can get him, or we can try to win on the sweepstakes. But there are a couple good coaches on this list. McDaniel, I think, will be a good offensive coordinator wherever he goes.
Yeah, it sounds like the Lions want to interview him, and maybe the Bucks,
which would be fantastic. Either of those teams would highly benefit from that. That'd be a huge swing for the Lions too. Not that I want to go on my Ben Johnson parade, this and that, but you have all those pieces. That'd be a really, really fun experiment to put Jared Goff, the receiving core there, and the dual running back tandem. I don't know if Montgomery's staying, but even though Jahmyr Gibbs himself, right? Like, yeah, that would be a really fun tandem. The Bucks, if they're ever healthy, like, he'll have options too. I'm very curious personally where Kevin Stefanski goes. I think he's been a highly underrated coach. I know he's won Coach of the Year twice, but his market, I think, has gotten tanked somewhat because you have the Shador like truthers who are like, oh my God, Kevin Stefanski hates Shador Sanders. And I don't know. I never thought that was the case. I'm not going to start thinking it is now. I think wherever he ends up could be a massive, massive win for whatever team hires him.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's gonna be very interesting. I will say too. So Stephen Ross, the owner of the Dolphins, is he's a Michigan man. He is in love with the Harbaughs. He tried to hire Jim at the Dolphins before Jim went to back to Michigan to be their head coach, which is funny. He almost screwed his alma mater out of their head coach. when he was leaving the 49ers. So he's made a run at Jim before. Some say he may make an argument or a run for John. If I'm John, I don't touch the Dolphins' job just because of the quarterback situation, but we'll see. The other guy I expect the Dolphins to go after is a very familiar last name, arguably one of the greatest coaches of all time, Chris Shula, who is the grandson of the legendary Don Shula. He is the defensive coordinator with the Rams and a very hot name. I wouldn't be shocked if the Dolphins go down, Nostalgia Boulevard and hire him. So I don't know if that was a factor too, to be like, hey, we could get this guy. He's born in Miami, born and raised. The last time the Miami was great was when Don Shula was a coach. So could be very, very interesting. But no, I agree to you, Jerry. Kevin Stefanski is I almost feel like he's kind of the first domino to fall because it feels like Harbaugh's going to take his time and be very selective.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll wait and see. Jonathan says McDaniels is going to the D. Book it. We'll see. He could also do a Robert Saleh, go to the 49ers for a year and then end up being a head coach again somewhere. We'll see how that goes. The Eagles and 49ers. The 49ers are currently driving. The Eagles are up 19-17, 5 minutes left. So we'll talk about the Bears again till the end of that game to get Trevor's live reaction. Oh, Jerry's cheese grater. He's brought it out.
Come on, baby.
I will say when Caleb Williams did the cheese grater after we beat the Packers a couple weeks ago, only it was amazing. And then we get in this game, and I'm like, oh, the cheese grater may have killed us. There were a couple things too, Jerry. I don't know how you feel about the all blue uniforms. Those are my favorite Bear uniforms of all time. When I saw we were wearing those, I was ecstatic.
I think it's our first win in the all navies.
It is, but those are the best looking uniforms that we have. I don't know what it is about them. They look better to me. They look like a more physical team. I don't know. I just love that uniform. It is my favorite. And when they wore them, it was beautiful. This season's all about breaking the curses. It's just a new leaf. When I saw the old man run back to the locker room with the helmet, Edwards' helmet, I was like, the McCaskies. I was like, this guy's he's trying to make the people love him now. He shoved the Packers fan a couple weeks ago in that photo, on that video. It's like this new feel. This whole Bears thing's a new feel. Ben Johnson, I think, he's the captain of this. This is exactly why they finally ponied up and got him. Look, this feels great. I mean, to win that game, to come back against the Packers out of all teams, amazing. I don't know. Caleb Williams, this guy in the fourth quarter, does some stuff that nobody else can do. That throw on fourth down, I'm telling you right now, maybe Patrick Mahomes is the only guy that can make that throw.
I go back to this. I keep saying this. He's the most Bears quarterback ever. He encapsulates this team so well. The Bears are always good at doing hard things. When you least expect the Bears to do something, they end up doing it. But what's the easy thing? For years, it was the 45-yard kick to win a game. It's wide right. Yeah. It's when you need to drive and you just need to hold on to the ball, they fumble. When they need to get the stop against a team like Green Bay in a high sweepstakes moment, Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, or even Jordan Love would make the big boy pass. And the same old Bears showed up in the first half. That was the text that I sent to quite a few people because the way this game was going in the first half, we talked about this on camera. The Packers' yards that they were getting looked very easy. Runs were going for 8 yards, passes for 15. Guys were wide open. There were holes right there. Or if Josh Jacobs got to the outside, it looked like he had a lot of real estate. The Bears, on the other hand, every yard they tried to get looked hard. Every pass was contested. Every run felt like the hole moved up real quick, or there's no way to get outside. So when it's 21-3 and McManus missed that field goal, I'm like, cool, that's a little thing. They still get the ball back. I don't know what the Packers have been doing in the second half of these games. I still don't understand it. I'm thankful for it, personally. But it has been wildly confusing because I get it. You want to run some clock off. I don't expect them to be like pure air raid Mike Leach, right? And just be like, oh, we're throwing it no matter what. But this team adjusted, especially defensively. I think that's where we can talk about the fourth quarter comeback. That's what this team has done. They've been so successful at. But is the second half defense and also like the kind of like we just don't want to lose this game if we're Green Bay play calling that gives this possibility, like makes this even a possibility. And that's what I find so fascinating is going to be the biggest question mark is where did the aggression go for Green Bay? Because this is a team they've done this the other 2 times they've played, both at Lambeau and at Soldier Field, that if you let them stick around, they will fight around. They're not a team to easily get rid of, but you can do that. If they would have scored and made it 28-3, this game does not happen. Like, no. Yes, there's a belief in there, but you could kill the hope. And, like, there's ways they could have done it, but they got afraid, and I'm thankful for it. The fourth quarter comebacks, this is where we were talking about the curses being broken. That's so un-Bears-like. It is very Bearsy to get close and not do it. But to watch a final drive where offensively the Bears score and score convincingly, DJ Moore wide open for a second time.
Great play.
You would think that, again, these things are just mind-boggling because that always felt like Devontae Adams being wide open and finding that first down or finding that touchdown, or Jordy Nelson finding the gap and then scoring, pick whoever from past Packer land would do that to the Bears. No, it's DJ Moore being wide open, our number one wide receiver. And then to turn around and have the miscues on that last drive for the Packers, to have a false start coming out of a timeout. That feels like us.
Using their timeout way too early.
Yeah, using it way too early, and especially on a play where they could have still spiked it and pretty quickly and not blown a lot of time. I don't really feel like there's a necessary discussion with the injury because, like, if that guy is screwed up, like, in all this, like, I don't feel it's in good faith if I'm like, oh, he should have found a way to get off the field. If he can't get off the field, that is like, I can't even say that as a Bears fan, be like, oh man, if Ozzie Trapilo would have taken 10 seconds when he screwed up his leg, I would have been like, oh my God, Ozzie cost us the game. Like, I feel like that's a hard one to swallow. But yeah, to have these stupid mistakes and to still have it come down to a Hail Mary, which just last year absolutely destroyed us. And I've watched those Packers teams make those types of catches and all this. We're rushing 3, Sweat kind of quits like halfway through the play. And I'm like, oh my God, they're going to do it, aren't they? And to watch that ball hit the ground was cathartic. That's 15 years of waiting. And to do it against a team that this is still a rivalry. It's always been a rivalry. But for the last couple of years, Green Bay's been able to hold on to, like, yeah, we're just better than you guys. It don't matter, right? Like, yeah, we kind of care about it, but we have playoff aspirations. You just want to beat us. That's how this has looked the last couple of years. We just took y'all out of the playoffs. Like, that, the stakes are back. The reality, the making this matter is back, and it's been really fun. It's a magic carpet ride from this point out.
A whole new world.
It is. It does. It feels so different. It is actually crazy to me.
Like, this is. I haven't had this level of excitement probably since 2018. As a Bears fan itself, and mind you, that's
just like in your entire life.
Outside of the Super Bowl run, but I was too young to, like, really appreciate the Super Bowl run. But
like you got engaged recently. Like,
I'm talking about the Bears.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
This is the greatest time of Jerry's life ever.
You're trying to set me up here on
me. I want you to clarify, dude. I was doing that for you.
Yeah, no. As I actually told my fiance, I go, number one moment of my life was you saying yes. Number 2 was Days. Don't worry. I'm doing that one there. Don't you dare, Trevor. That's dirty.
No, that's for you.
That's a dirty bird. That's a dirty bird play.
That for you, Jerry.
15-yard flag.
That's fine. To clarify.
God. But no, then around the Bears team specifically, this is probably the best I've ever felt about them in 2018. And honestly, I don't give a piss who we play next. I don't care if we lose by 30. The fact that we've done what we've done this year. Amazing. I can ride this for years for all I care. Oh, this is awesome.
Well, no, so that's the thing. As the 49ers scored to go up 23-19, Eagles are
throwing 2-yard passes.
They're trying to get down the field.
A.J. Brown does not exist.
A.J. Brown just did something. I don't know, Trevor, if you watched it. I don't want to spoil it for you.
Oh, wait. We'll see.
Creepy photos saying targeting on Trevor for that comment to Jerry. 15 yards.
Late hit.
No, Jerry, to your credit, I haven't felt like this about a Bears team since 2018. I feel different because I feel even more, I think, than 2018 just based off of, like, we're doing it differently to where it's like we have a quarterback that I trust in moments. Trevor just watched the A.J. Brown drop, I'm pretty sure, as now the Eagles are going for it on 4th and 5 from their own 40.
He's terrible.
He also tried to fight their coach.
Get rid of him.
They're going for it on 4th down.
Kind of have to. Be quiet, please.
I will not spoil it. he's
It
now
is muted.
removed
It's
his
everything.
headphones. Yeah, so I will say no, I haven't felt like this about a Bears team ever because it's we're doing it differently. A quarterback that I trust in the fourth quarter of a game. I've never had that in my life. Um, a coach I trust. It's a mentality, right? It's before it was defense. We're not going to have them score more than 17. If we can score at least 20, we're fine. That was kind of the mentality there and the way to do it. This team is completely different. It is like offensive, like we're going to be innovative, we're going to be smart. The defense in the second half looked like the 85 Bears. I mean, and I will
I don't
say,
even know if it was the Bears. That's what
well,
the
that's
craziest
the
part
thing
is.
is, I don't think Matt LaFleur, they were like, they made adjustments. And the guy was like, aren't you supposed to make adjustments? He's like, we have to work on that. You didn't make any adjustments during the game. That's the whole point. That's what makes a good NFL coach a great NFL coach. Can you make an adjustment in halftime and then can you make it during the game? I don't know if he can do that. And that could be the coaching tree he's under. Uh, and that's the Kyle Shanahan coaching tree where sometimes it feels like in games they don't understand things. And this is now for Matt LaFleur a continuation of like, what the hell? I think they lost what last 4 or 5 games in a row
Mhm.
to end the season, and he's just like, we have to figure it out. We have to figure it out. And the reporter were kind of like, shouldn't you like have this figured out by now? Like you're experienced. So I don't know. It's just I think that they thought that they were just going to come out in the second half and roll us and continue on because it worked. The Bears made adjustments, they didn't. And I think that's what the game came down to. And Jordan Love, it looked like when you get some pressure in his face, he looked like a middle school quarterback.
Because that's been the like weakness of Jordan Love for years, and I think this is in a critical eye. What is so confusing to me about the Bears in this situation in this game was that it took you a half of football after you've played this team twice. You know everything about them,
Yeah.
and you take that week of prep, and you take the first half, and you're like, we're just gonna sit back and see what happens.
Well, Jerry, I think to your point last week, I think they want to see how far they can get down and come back and win.
You know, like yeah, that's maybe it is a sick joke of just like yeah, how late can we wait to score a touchdown and win against an NFC North opponent? I don't like that bet. It worked this week. Last week, obviously, it didn't. But like, it's a weird in between I have with like this defense specifically and that defensive performance because the second half was fantastic. The second half, you only have this comeback happen because it wasn't like the Bears. They didn't do two things they were really good at, right? They forced turnovers, but did not capitalize or finish the turnovers, right? I look back to the big boy fumble. I feel that was a changing play in that game because it was a moment where, as you said, Caleb, in the second half, they wanted to come out and dominate. Be like, we're better than you. We're just going to roll you over. So they wanted to do a fun trick play and all this. And even though it didn't lead to a turnover, it's, oh, yeah, he still fumbled that ball and you should have had it, right?
Yeah.
That felt like a kind of like a weird momentum shifting moment. Maybe not like, oh, my God, the Bears have this game, but like, oh, yeah, you're playing with your food too much. You wanted to get fancy, and that just doesn't help in this situation when you don't benefit from it. And then you turn around and slowly bleed. But if I'm Dennis Allen, I'm this Bears team, I'm very curious what this next round looks like because, yes, you can adjust in the third and fourth quarter. It's one thing, though, if you know that the Packers won't. It's one thing if you're maybe like, you know what, not to say give them a lead, but like, we're going to save our pressure. We're really going to dial up in the second half, and we're going to try to even maybe save legs so we're not completely throw the whole kitchen sink to late in the game. Sure, maybe that's the justification. Whoever the Bears play in this next round, I don't, it could be a team from this game right now that Trevor's watching. It could be the Rams. Like, there's obviously question marks there. You can't do that. There's no team left in the NFC that the Bears, they can go down a little bit. It is weird for me to say that, but as a team, and knowing the Bears historically that love coming close to coming back and always failing, I do have faith in this team being down a score and not being out of a game. But you spot another team 18 points or a 21-point lead, I don't think any other team is going to give you the same leeway. Maybe that's a credit to this Bears staff. I don't really want to give it too much. Be like, oh, yeah, you spotted them a big lead. I don't think they really wanted to. But that's what I'm very curious about is if you're whoever they're going to run up against. There's two teams you played before this year, one that you haven't. You're only going to know so much, and this is – I do think there's a big emotional toll for this game too that matters, that in this next round will still be there, but it will not be the Green Bay game.
No, I mean, it was personal. Ben Johnson said after they was like, them up north, they said some things and that really ticked us off. But no, I mean, the other thing with Dennis Allen is he's a very good defensive coordinator. He has the potential if we can fully build the defense to be the best defense coordinator in football. He's done it before. So what he does with less is, I think, it's extraordinary because people are like, "Oh my God, he's terrible," but it's like you actually have to look at what he's working with on defense. Like our defensive
Absolutely.
line isn't the greatest, our linebacking isn't the best. We had an injury with T.J. Edwards, one of our better linebackers. He's had to mix and mangle corners all year long. The safeties have been the best part of the team, but that's at the back end. So what do you do all the time? So for him to come out, make the adjustments, really figure it out, I was like, this is why we have this guy as our defensive coordinator. This is why Ben Johnson called him when he got fired from the Saints. It was like, if I get a head coaching job, are you going to be my DC? And he was like, yes. So, like,
I think you bring up a great point. On a different end, those injuries, I do think are going to be the thing that ends this season at some
probably,
point.
yes, because losing TJ Edwards sucks.
That's a huge one. That is one that even with this miraculous comeback and all this, and Trapil is a big deal too.
Yes.
On the offensive line. Like, the secret ingredient of this Bears' success has truly been the fact that you went from the worst offensive line in the league to not one of the worst. I'm not sure if it's the best, but if we're talking about him in the top 10, I think that's very fair. And that has made the elusiveness of Caleb Williams even possible. Because if you're not getting pressure on him every single play, when he has to scramble, you can't necessarily like a spy on him, et cetera. Or if you're doing that, you're not getting the pressure you need, et cetera. Right? When you get sacked 50 times in a year, it doesn't really matter.
Trevor's taking his headphones out because
I don't blame him. This is for the season right now. I'll let you keep that up as I keep talking. Fill some space and air.
They're calling a timeout, so they're gonna look over it before they run the play. It's 4th and 11 currently. They are close to the red zone or in the 49ers red zone there. But no, look, losing Trapello sucks, and I saw a thing today that guys with that injury don't always come back the same. So it'll be interesting to see as him just a rookie. And that everybody was like, we actually found something in him. He was like a 3rd-round pick, I think,
yes.
For a left tackle. So kind of a cheaper option moving forward to build the team. So we'll see how it goes moving forward for him. But yeah, and it was also, Kyler Gordon is a really good corner, but it's his first game back in a month. So they were picking on him last night. So hopefully he gets his legs under him a little bit more. But yeah, the Edwards one sucks as Trevor has now walked away. I'm assuming he's probably going to go watch it with his dad. So that's what my guess is.
I understand. I think I told you I called my father.
Yeah, you pulled a Jonathan. You called your dad.
I did not cry just because, maybe a Super Bowl will get a tear out of me or two.
I didn't cry, but I was close because I was just like, this is
very
the first
cathartic.
time since 2010 I've seen a playoff win.
And again, it wasn't just a playoff win. It was beating the Packers. And I think
Eagles are going for it right now.
Yeah, going back and forth on this. I'm going to let you because you're ahead of me. So
the Eagles do not get the 4th down. It looks like as of right now, 40 seconds left. Eagles still have 2 timeouts, but it looks like the Bears will have a rematch with the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
At our home turf, get them.
That's gonna be fun. I think that is an awesome. But this, just the mind of this game, and that was a close because I'm behind you. I just saw there was a chance there too.
No, well, they had Devonta Smith had a 3rd down. He had the chance to catch it and he dropped it.
Yeah, it just speaks out of how great these playoffs have been. At every
every game has been close.
It feels so even. I am frustrated for the Alliance here, a piece of the Alliance to pass away slowly as we get into the final, unless something stupid happens, which is possible. But
here, so we'll move on from the Bears. Trevor, live reaction. I do feel bad for you because you have rooted for the Bears so much this season, and my hatred for the Eagles has gone down this season. I want you to know that. I love you, and that was a tough one.
Yeah, it's just 3rd and 11. I would like to see. We don't have to get the 1st down and 3rd down. We have to go for it on 4th down. So I'd like to see it turn into maybe 4th and more manageable. 4th and 4, 4th and 5. Do that stuff you're doing with Saquon. Get a couple yards. So we're not shooting for a 1st down, which is going to be a 10+ yard throw, not getting it, and then having to have this big conversion. And then it just I don't know, dude.
I don't know. I will say I misspoke. We play the Rams at home. 49ers play the Seahawks.
Oh,
I misspoke.
Jesus Christ!
I just forgot about that. That's fine. That's fine.
No.
Stafford looked terrible yesterday, and on the road they've been terrible. So last time we played the Rams outside cold weather, Jerry, you remember that 2018? What happened? What happened to Sean McVay then?
Oh my God! You're telling me the best passing defense in the NFL is going to go up against our secondary? Oh Jesus! Hey, it's been fun. I'm not again. I said earlier I didn't give a damn who we play. It's going to be a great time to be here, and I still believe that. But in terms of pure rooting interest, we were all rooting for the Birds because that would have been a fun rematch. We are sad for a piece of the alliance to fall here in the wild card, but. I just keep going back to it. It's been such a great first round. Like,
it has
but
been.
the game
Every
before
game
this,
has been crazy.
The game before this is going to set a lot of narrative of like the Buffalo Bills team, right? I've said Jacksonville all year has done what the Bears have done, but better. Young cornerstone pieces at the offense. You brought an offensive mind who started to figure it out, and they don't have Travis Hunter in this, mind you. Even if he's one position, that's still your second overall pick, who is doing really good things, and. If you want to get you want to get the hopium up for Chicago Bears fans, look at how they played against the Panthers, a team that we think is probably the weakest in the NFC playoff bracket. I think in total, even more than Green Bay.
Probably in the playoffs total out of all the playoff teams.
Probably, right. I think that's a fair point. And they pushed the Rams to their brink. Now, the Rams, I feel like in that game played with their food all game. It was kind of like, we're not going to lose this, are we? No, we're not going to. This. Then it got real close and we're not going to lose this.
They've done that down the stretch, though. They've done that down the stretch.
So I'm very curious what that looks like. But yeah, that's a 3-point game. This game's a 4-point game. The Bears game's a 4-point game, and we're running up against two matchups that I also think are going to be really, really good. The Chargers and Patriots is a fantastic Sunday night football game, and we turn around Monday and we look at the team I keep just absolutely raving about. So that means they're going to lose because that's how that works. And that is the Texans. I think the Texans defense, if we have one blowout out of these last two games, I would look at this Texas defense just to absolutely cause havoc to the Steelers offense. But they do get DK Metcalf back, and that's a big deal too. So that doesn't even feel like a foregone conclusion. But give me a team that has an elite edge, elite pass rush against a quarterback that's 43 years old. That feels like a recipe for success.
Jalen Hurts threw it into triple coverage, by the way.
Yeah, I know he did.
Oh my God!
We're trying not to.
Well, okay. So here's the thing. So the NFC second round is set. 49ers at Seahawks, the rematch there that they had just a couple weeks ago. Rams at Bears, very interesting. Excited for that. It kind of feels like historically the Bears and Rams kind of play in the playoffs. Back in the 80s, that was a thing. So that's kind of fun. Matthew Stafford gets to come back to the North. For in January, which will also be fun. Devontae Adams, if I would have told you Devontae Adams is going to kill us in the playoffs, you would have thought he'd still been a Packer. That's not the case. So, Trevor, I'll move on to there. So Jalen Hurts throws in triple coverage, but there's a guy in John Harbaugh who was your special teams coordinator before he took the Ravens job.
Honestly, right now I'm fine with firing whoever we want to fire. We can fire Sirianni, we can fire Spatullo. Get rid of those guys. I want AJ Brown gone. He is a drama queen, but he doesn't produce anything. I think he had, I'm not kidding, more drops than catches today.
He also tried to fight the head coach.
And he wants to sit there and scream in Sirianni's face. He wants to read his stupid book on the sideline instead of paying attention to the game. He acts like a toddler. He acts like he's Terrell Owens, where he doesn't produce nearly as well as T.O. T.O. is allowed to do sit-ups in his parking lot and ask for a contract raise or whatever because he's Terrell Owens.
He's played a Super Bowl on a broken leg too.
So A.J. Brown does nothing, complains that no, we don't want to give him the ball because he doesn't do anything. And we have to feed Goddard, our tight end, and Devontae Smith, who weighs 150 pounds, because A.J. Brown can't do anything. He's literally, I don't know if he's just gotten so much worse. He cannot beat anyone on man-to-man. He has literally not beaten a corner all year. And we just saw he, 3rd and 7 or something, hits him directly in the hands and he drops it.
He had 3 catches for 25 yards, 7 targets were thrown at him.
I was saying all 4 were drops. All 4 hit him in the hands.
I will also say, too, there was a crazy stat they showed before the game. Kyle Shanahan, it's either he makes the playoffs or he at least makes the NFC Championship game. So every year he's been in the playoffs as a coach, he's made it to at least the NFC Championship game. So a little foreshadowing there. Yeah, I mean, look, if I'm the Eagles and I'm Howie Roseman, a guy that builds this roster, that's a pretty talented roster. Maybe you could argue top to bottom the most talented roster in the way he's constructed it with everything going on. Um, I yeah, I think it's tough because he won the Super Bowl last year, Nick Sirianni, but clearly the offense coordinator's got to go. But my problem with that is it's like he didn't intervene till like late in the year with it, and he's supposed to be an offensive guy, so he should have saw this coming moving forward. And then to me, the dynamic where it was like it's not like the Travis Kelce and Andy Reid where he like got in his face in the Super Bowl and it was like fine, no one had to hold him back. But when Big Dom had to pull AJ Green and Nick Sirianni away from each other, I was like, that's not a good look.
Yeah, well, and another frustrating part of this too is like every time the Eagles have a good offensive coordinator, they just go be a head coach somewhere.
Yeah,
Which I understand that's how like the NFL works, but like it's so frustrating to see these teams like hold on to their coordinators. I mean, Vic Fangio obviously is phenomenal, but like Kellen Moore was amazing for us last year. It sucks, and then before him, Frank Steichen losing him.
Yeah.
It's just like, and then we get these guys who are not very good at play calling. I don't know. I'm like, our offensive line looks significantly worse this season.
Well, Lane Johnson didn't play either, so
Yeah.
I think that's
Jalen,
such a big point, dude.
yeah.
The offensive line struggling, I think, is what was the bread and butter of this team last year.
Yep.
Because the killer, and like we're talking about the Philadelphia's weapons, what made them so powerful was the fact that you didn't need to rely on all those guys in the pass catching game because you had Saquon Barkley who would run 100+ yards every game. That was not the case this season. I do think the offensive line, having those injuries, having some of those problems here and there, you turn Saquon Barkley into a 50-yard to 75-yard back, and you're now forcing those 3rd and 7s, those 3rd and 9s instead of 3rd and 3s. Jalen Hurts is a fine quarterback. Jalen Hurts is not top 5. Even when he won that Super Bowl last year, no one's like, this is the Jalen Hurts truth year. It was like, oh my God, Saquon Barkley ran for 2,000 yards, right?
Yeah.
Like that was.
Yeah. And their defense is amazing. Have you seen that defensive line? It's all Georgia players.
Yeah, which smart, honestly. Again, don't know how they get away with driving in Philly if they could drive in Athens, but hey, here we are. But like, that's what I found so interesting about this Eagles team is that probably the most lethal weapon of that team has significantly diminished. But it just shows you how razor thin those margins are. The run game was not at its same level. Not to say Saquon Barkley was necessarily bad, but he wasn't getting the same gaps. He wasn't getting the same edges that he was last year. This game felt like the first game in a while that I watched Saquon Barkley. That offense looked like the Eagles offense that can win a Super Bowl. And like the one that won it last year, right? Yeah. Where he got some of those big chunk runs, or he had gaps that he could turn from not just 6 yards to 8 because he could knock down a defender or keep going. The Eagles just didn't have that this year. They had points in this game, but it wasn't consistent enough. So it's like,
well, and then that's what we've been talking about all year too. It's the Eagles are good a quarter at a time, and I've been saying this since the first game of the season. When we're talking about every week, we talk about the Eagles, and I'm like, yeah, they look great the first half, they look terrible the second half, or they look terrible the first half and look great the second. It's been the entire season for 18 games. This team has not played a single whistle to whistle good game. And I'm actually so happy they lost because I don't have to freaking worry about them winning anymore, and I can just enjoy the rest of the NFL playoffs. I hate them so much. I want everyone fired. I want everyone traded. And I just want to be like the Browns now. I just want to be the Browns where there's no expectations. There's no expectations.
See, you're too greedy. See, no, this is the problem. You are spoiled. You're spoiled rotten. You even said it. You're like when the Eagles won the last Super Bowl last year. I was like, oh, we won the Super Bowl. Like, you're spoiled. This is spoiled. This is a spoiled fan talking right here. But I will say, if I'm the Eagles, I'm firing Nick Sirianni, and I have John Harbaugh hired tomorrow. Because here's the deal. Is John Harbaugh already knows how to work with a quarterback like Jalen Hurts. He does it with Lamar Jackson. Jalen Hurts is way more durable than Lamar Jackson, so he's going to have him on the field. It's pretty much plug and play for John Harbaugh with a new scenery, going back to Philly. He was an Andy Reid disciple. Loved his time there. This is easy for the Eagles. If I'm them, you get away from Nick Sirianni. You get away from the arguing on. You're not going to have that with John Harbaugh. You're not going to have A.J. Brown losing his mind. That's not going to be a thing. And I think you put Howie Roseman with John Harbaugh together, that is lethal.
Let me throw you a fun one. How about this? Let's say Sirianni keeps his job. I think there's a world where this is still an 11-win team, and you're coming off a Super Bowl, so it's gonna be hard to justify that one. I get it. It's the Eagles.
Just the drama. The drama.
Okay, let me throw you one here. What if I told you there's a guy right now who's looking for a job? He used to work with Alabama quarterbacks. He's worked with Alabama quarterback for years. Has run electric offense. And doesn't have to worry about defense anymore. What if Mike McDaniel, instead of going to Detroit, ended up in Philadelphia?
I like that.
It'd be interesting. What about Brian Daboll?
You know, I feel like Daboll, for some reason, I don't know what Brian Daboll is going to do. You could tell me he goes anywhere.
He was going to be the Penn State coach like a month ago.
Yeah, I don't know what. If he's a smart man, he takes a year and is just an analyst somewhere and then comes back to be an offensive coordinator wherever he wants. Yeah. He just feels like one of those guys that if he just took a year and everyone just kind of forgot about Brian Daboll and then he turned around and then ended up in like New England. And like he was like a staffer for New England for a year or two, and then he like slowly builds his way back up a little bit.
I have a wild Daboll theory.
Oh God!
So the Raiders need a head coach. They hire Brian Flores as the head coach. He focuses on the defense. They hire Daboll to be the offensive coordinator. The Patriot regime gets back together in Vegas.
Oh, that's something.
I'm telling you, I honestly,
I don't hate that either.
I kind of feel like that's going to happen.
I don't hate that at all. No.
Fernando Mendoza, come on down.
God, I see it. I see that more than I'd like to admit. You're telling me that you could get Fernando Mendoza, who kind of has the same build, but just won't have the same story as Tom Brady. Lanky, guy who's not super athletic, but is really good at, being very smart, very cognitive quarterback in a system like that. It's scary. That's the beauty of this stuff now. And also, this is one of those NFL coaching carousels that it is almost mirroring its college brother part of just how crazy it's been, how big it's been, how expansive it will be. And mind you, as soon as some of those coordinators turn around, because there'll be some coordinators that probably get a job too here, right? Because that's more common in the NFL. Like one guy I'm keeping an eye on, Jesse Minter. We're going to talk about Michigan men. I feel like he's due for an NFL job somewhere off the Harbaugh tree of this world. That's part of the fun. Now, I would be shocked if Sirianni got fired. I would honestly be that way to some degree. I understand, again, the frustration. I feel like I'm kind of just like poking at Trevor with a stick. Like, I don't think they're going to fire him. I don't think they're going to fire him.
I don't think they'll fire him either, but they fired Doug Peterson after he won the Super Bowl like 2 years later.
Yeah.
So.
So I'm
They fired Andy Reid. They fired Andy Reid.
Yeah. So it'd be very interesting where this goes, but we are in that kind of like weird world of like, we could go anywhere from here. And you can see how quickly things turn around, because I want to look at these next matchups a little bit too, especially Sunday Night Football. These are two coaches that have not been there for a while. They're sitting here in a wild card spot. Vrabel felt like the most Patriots head coach ever to take the job after Bill Belichick. And then Jim Harbaugh has made a West Coast team look like a prime Midwest team, right? Like they run the ball like crazy. Everything feels like a jumbo package, and Justin Herbert feels like the perfect quarterback for the weird nerd that Jim Harbaugh is that wins football games. So like that's how quickly these things can change. This year's playoffs have been fantastic, and it just shows you this is the level of parity I think so many other professional leagues in America strive to have right now. Because, dude, me and Kayla are going to talk ourselves into the Bears being the Rams next week, and there's a world where that happens because of the score of the wild card game this week, right? Whoever Buffalo plays, they're going to sit there and be like, we can beat Buffalo. Look, they lost by 3 to Jacksonville, right? Jacksonville turns it around in a year. There's a lot of things that can happen real quickly. I am curious what the Philadelphia free agency looks like, because all their contracts are structured very weird with those like late, pay everyone late so you can try to get everyone in at once. So I don't know what's the first domino of that, but whenever that domino starts,
AJ Brown gets traded.
Please.
I do think there's a world where that happens. Not even to just play the game. Like you're telling me they would say, hey, we can get a bunch of assets. We have other good receivers and other cores. And they either try to get draft picks, and maybe they could swing in the middle first round, or you get some other pieces, maybe not a star, but you get a lot in return. There's teams that still swing on AJ Brown. He's just one of those guys I think will always have that type of feel around him until he quits. Even if he's not the same super duper elite receiver, there's a couple offensive coaches that are going to sit there and go, I can fix AJ Brown. I can make him do this and that. But that's why these guys are all NFL coaches and we're all just podcasters. We're like, we don't want AJ Brown right now. He looked terrible. Other guys are like, we can fix him. It's kind of toxic, but it's fun.
Fix him. Get him off my team. I can't stand the dude. I can't. I loved him. I've loved him. I have put up with this nonsense, but it has reached its boiling point today, and this is the first day of my life where I don't like AJ Brown very much.
This is a toxic relationship, like in its final stage.
AJ Brown feels like a great Houston Texan.
He could. I think he'll be great somewhere where he doesn't have to be the number one guy. I think
Houston's gonna go all out to get him on their team.
That would be awesome. Him and Nico Collins, and they'll do great together. Christian Kirk, they'll all just love each other. Maybe they'll join a freaking book club or something.
I mean,
I'm
at least I will say I don't know what the announcer said after the game. I don't know what Tom Brady said, but at least you weren't the Jaguars fans when Tony Romo was like at the end. He's like, "This Jaguars team really could have went on a run, Jim. Like they could have went far in this thing." I'm just like, you are poking the bear. Like you're killing them right now. No, I agree too. They could have, but it was just so funny. He's just like, Jim, this Jaguars team, they could have done something, Jim.
They could have, dude.
Like they could have won the whole thing, Jim. And
if we would have beaten the 49ers, we would have just lost the next game anyway. So it doesn't even matter, regardless of who we had to play.
Creepy photo says AJ Brown back to the Titans. Cam Ward has his man.
There we go.
You're telling I could see that one. Titans pick high, right? They're not going to do it this year. That'd be the thing. Titans are going to want to pick high and keep it high.
Their draft.
Maybe he's a Raider. For
trade the first round pick and we pick.
No, I don't think you get that. But
no, you probably get some like middling. You ready for this one? You want to talk about explosive NFL trades? Max Crosby leaves for AJ Brown.
Yes.
I think the Eagles. But the Eagles have to throw something else in there, though. I don't think straight up.
Like the money would work out. But if you really wanted, yes, that's the thing is you have to think money with AJ Brown because that contract is.
I like that deal, Jerry. Look at you.
If you want to talk about the Raiders, that would probably because they're not going to trade that pick. They're going to want to get Mendoza or Dante Moore, depending on where they think. I know the consensus is Mendoza. I more and more see that each week, but. It's also the Raiders. If you told me they went with like fucking Dante Moore, I'd be like, oh, really? Not shocking. Sometimes, a franchise not going with the number one consensus quarterback. What? Never seen that one before.
Last time they had the number one pick, they picked Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah.
I saw that, yeah.
So, the Raiders can always find a way to be weird. But if you want to talk about explosive blockbuster trades that if they're trying to, rebuild this offense, retool
it. That
the money would work out there.
Nolan says throw in
Nakobe Dean.
Or Cooper
I love Nakobe, but no, we got to keep the white guys together. I love the white guys. I love Nakobe Dean.
Clip it.
Out of all the things, trade everybody but the white guys on our team.
No, I don't want anyone on our defense to go. I love Nakobe Dean.
It would have to be a major piece, like an outside of just AJ Brown. Yeah. Like I don't think they would do it straight up, just because. Even the money got close.
Dean would be like the one person that we could maybe get away with.
I think if you did AJ Brown,
Nakobe Dean,
next year's first rounder,
fourth round pick,
next year's first rounder, and then like a third. I bet that deal gets done.
Or do it, Howie.
Or if the Raiders really want to be like crazy, they wouldn't even take this year's first. They would take like a 2 or 3 year first.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, hoping for impending doom against your success, which personally I don't want to do for you, Trevor, but that's how I see that trade looking. But then we are slowly also getting into talking season as the NFL season winds down. But it's crazy to think like we're in this mode, partially because like I'm used to doing this for months at this point. I'm like, oh man, where are the Bears going to go? Right? I'm looking at mock drafts like weeks in now, and I still will not look at one until we're out of the playoffs because why not? Right, like I don't need to for once. I'm going to enjoy the fact that I'm not on Take-a-thon. We're going to have fun here, but we're going to quickly get to talking.
I'm going to look it up. Here we go.
I don't care. I'm honestly, you know what?
Wow, he pulled a me.
No, I don't. They don't fully have it done yet, so I'm not going to look at it. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. I think what will be interesting is to find out which coach is wanted more fired tomorrow in Matt LaFleur or Nick Sirianni, because Sean McDermott kept his job in Buffalo. Because I honestly feel like if they would have lost, he may have been fired. So he kept his job alive. So yeah, it'll be interesting. John Harbaugh out there. If I'm the Eagles, I do it. That's just me personally. Trevor wants to play everybody. Keep the whites together and add Max Crosby to add to the whites. That'd be great.
Oh.
That'd be lethal. Just the MILF killers out there on the.
Yeah.
God.
Oh, Johnson has something to say. He
Of course
says
he does.
the fact that Trevor got up and walked away on a game-deciding play is the softest.
I was watching you with my dad. You called your dad after they fucking
wild show. That's exactly. I told Jerry. I said he probably wanted to go watch it with his dad. What did Gordo think?
He was very silent.
Yeah,
that's always the worst.
Yeah, he's probably baffled. I mean, look, for Kyle Shanahan to do what he's doing with this 49ers team, where everybody's injured. George Kittle tears his Achilles during the game, which is nuts. Another injury down. Kyle Juszczyk was a fullback. It looked like he was killing the Eagles.
That's not fair, dude. You're not allowed to have a fullback that's good at football. You can only block.
He went to Harvard. He went to Harvard.
Dude, he's unbelievable. He's like catching passes like 20 yards downfield and like making people miss and running people over. Like
he's the ultimate in my mind. He's actually the ultimate gadget player. Yeah. Because yes, we think of gadget guys like fast receiver, right? That you can maybe throw around like a Luther Bird and Tank Dell, guy you can throw in a couple different spots and be fun. How about a fullback that can block, can catch, and could run? And if you really want to, you could throw him basically anywhere, and he'll know what he's doing.
And his wife can make you a sick outfit.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah. You get cool Kyle Juszczyk, your wife's going to have a great game day fit.
And I will say, Kyle Juszczyk was cut in the offseason, and then they brought him back just to restructure his contract.
He is in my mind one of those because of just how the wherewithal he has for the game, and I feel like I'm talking about a white guy very specifically. Look at this white guy from an Ivy League playing football, man. Yeah. He just understands the concept.
He's a real first guy in, last guy.
I can't wait to be the future coach.
He's a gym rat. He's a spark plug for your team.
Yes, he is.
He's like a squirrel. He's like a squirrel. He's out there, just all over the place.
The morale he brings to the locker room is very unique.
Yeah. We want more guys like Kyle Juszczyk on our football.
On the Eagles defense.
Clipped. You're welcome. He's so perfect for it's terrible.
Child show, if dad quits, never good. John says, boo-hoo. Jaden's bringing you a gift tomorrow.
That felt like a threat. I don't like that. Yeah, I don't like how that was going.
You may not have school tomorrow, Trevor, based off of that comment. So you're welcome.
Hey, at least you get a day off. Congratulations.
Yeah. I mean, look, the NFL playoffs, it shows how wide open it is. 49ers beat the Eagles to move on to play the Seahawks. They'll play for a third time. The Rams will come to Chicago. The Bills move on, still determining who they have to play. They're going to be on the road the entire playoffs. And then tonight we have Chargers-Patriots, which feels I don't know. It feels if this was Tom Brady Patriots, I'd be like 45-12 Patriots, but it's not. And then the Texans versus the Steelers, which is maybe Aaron Rodgers' last game versus that defense. Mike Tomlin, what's he going to do after the season? Very, very interesting. This is what makes it fun. It's wide open. I mean, I know everybody's been saying, oh, this is wide open. Truly is wide open.
All one-score games. We've had all one-score games so far. When's the last time that's happened?
Jerry, I don't know if
I don't think about playoffs is hard because we're never in them. So
I don't know if ChatGPT can give me that answer. When was the last?
Let me drink some water. That will now be infested. Thanks to us using ChatGPT to get this answer.
Card playoff games.
And this is great radio.
Decided by one score. I already know ChatGPT is going to be I cannot fully figure out. The most recent NFL wildcard games were decided by one score, one possession. They say 2020. All 4 wildcard games were decided by one score, including 2 that went into overtime.
Weren't the Bears in that playoffs when that's when we missed the catch against the Saints?
That's when we played the Saints. Yeah, Jimmy Graham caught. I just saw the replay of that where he caught the ball at the end and then he walked right into the locker room.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I remember that. I kind of try to forget that one. Like I try to forget a lot of things about the Bears, but not this season. This season's one to remember.
We're different. This is the new Bears. That's just what we do.
I will hold on to this one for a while.
Enjoy it while it lasts, fellas. Just enjoy it while it lasts.
Hey, that window. We talk about that window all the time.
We took advantage of our window.
You did. You got 2 Super Bowls. Great. I will say the Eagles have retooled. They can retool very quickly. So
Yeah.
they're not out of it. And especially their division, as long as they have the Cowboys, Commanders, and the Giants, I think they'll be fine.
I mean, it's a free division championship.
So in 2020 playoffs, the Texans beat the Bills 22-19. Titans beat the Patriots 20-13. That was Tom Brady's last game in New England. The Vikings beat the Saints 26-20, so it was not that year, Jerry. That had been 2019 was that year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And then Seahawks beat the Eagles 17-9. With the Seahawks winning by 8, so they're considering that one score.
Yeah.
So in the season again, we're 1-score games in the playoffs, or the Eagles lose again. Sorry, Trevor. I mean, that's just.
He's got a ring. You know what? Ring still shines.
He's got 2 rings. He's trying to figure out who's outside his window.
Is he getting swatted right now?
Oh, there's his ring.
Yeah. Ring still shines.
Which Super Bowls? I think this was the one from 2 years ago.
Oh, he's bringing you Charmin. That's what you're getting tomorrow, Charmin.
Oh.
Hey man, toilet paper nowadays, it's not that cheap, man. Charmin's nice. That's good quality. I
This
guarantee you the school bathroom does
little-
not got Charmin.
Hey, Jonathan. You wouldn't know nothing about this, Jonathan.
It is funny.
He has two teams, and neither of them are good. So
yeah, he had the Raiders, and then the Lions got good, and now he's a Lions fan.
Now he's a Lions fan. And
way to pick 2 pathetic historical franchises. He just loves misery.
Yeah, he's like a masochist or whatever. He's a glutton for punishment. He's in the gimp outfit with the ball.
All right.
All right, we'll end with this last comment. He said, I got 2 natties, though, so blow my...
Dude, was I even alive for the first one?
No, it was 97. And
Okay,
it was a shared national title with Nebraska, so...
Oh.
I'm not going to say anything because I don't have one I don't have anything. I have a World Series in 16. That's all I have.
I got 105, baby.
So that's all I have. So I'm not gonna poke the bear, but it was a shared national title with Nebraska, the Cornhuskers in '97. So that's what it was, a shared national title against Nebraska in '97. And
so we'll call it 1.5.
Yeah.
Shout out Connor Stallion, baby.
Yeah, and that other one that the Michigan men love to throw around. So, me and Trevor will be back Wednesday. We will talk about transfer portal stuff during the middle of the week as it closing in on that. Some other things that come up, if there's another coach firing, that type of thing. And then we will be back on Sunday to break down more of the NFL playoffs, the second round. And then that's when we'll give our pick for the national title, which would then be that next Monday. Trevor, you went 1-1. Me and Jerry went 2-0 this week. Trevor loves to.
I picked the underdog.
You almost got a chance to go 500 on this season, but that will not happen for you.
That's all right. Better luck next year, I suppose. Just like the Eagles.
There you go. Just well, go enjoy your life. Enjoy the Charmin that you're going to get at school. That's good for you, actually. I'd say that conservative.
Yeah, I'm saying the school doesn't got Charmin.
Yeah, that's good for you. It's like triple ply compared to probably what you have. So no, we'll be back next Sunday all together. Me and Trevor will be back during the week on Wednesday. As always, thanks for watching.
Peace.
Bear down, baby.